I know we've kind of heard this, what it feels like to be in the zone, in our sport, and that's just a feeling. When you feel like everything that you put up is going in, so my teammates did a great job of continuing to find me, and then I just try to dictate the tempo, dictate the game, as we started making a run for it and getting the game closer and closer and closer. Just a zone that you just can't really describe it. During it, you don't feel anything. You just have a superpower, I feel.
Well, when he's in the zone, James has now outscored the opposing team in the fourth quarter in 16 games in his career. That's more than double any other player since 97-98. Kobe Bryant, he has the next most instances at 7, followed by LeBron James' friend, Dwayne Wade. So it's really a tale as old as time here, if you will. LeBron James delivered when his team needed him the most. You have been covering him for 21 years, since he was in high school. At 39 years old, is he proving that he can carry this team in a deep playoff run?
I don't know about that. I think he's proving that when you're down and you're in trouble, you go to LeBron with shooters on the court. I can remember games like this happening in 2005 when it was Damon Jones and Donyell Marshall. In 2009 when it was Kyle Korver or whoever, actually it was later, when it was Shane Battier and Ray Allen and even other Lakers in this run. And so this is what you do. You go to this, and it's an amazing moment. And usually it happens, Malika, in games where he gets red hot from three-point range. And maybe he's outscored the opposition 16 times in the fourth quarter, but I'll bet there's been dozens of times where he's come close to it when he's just gotten red hot from 3. I still think the Lakers were down 21 in this game to a team that was missing 2 starters, and I still think they're 3 games back in the loss column for the 8th seed, but obviously it was a dramatic and spectacular performance.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will look at the headline and say, LeBron James outscored the Clippers down the stretch to bring home the win. Don't focus on that. Focus on the confidence when he does this that it instills in his teammates. Because if you really dissect that stretch, LeBron James, a lot of points. His teammates in that time period, 4 for 6 from 3. We're talking about the Lakers, who are third to last in made threes. That is his superpower. He's balling, and guess what? He brings everyone along with him. Again, in that same quarter, they made almost as many threes as they make per game. They made 9, typically they average 11. That is LeBron James.
It's a one-off then? It's just an awesome one-off?
No, it's not. It's because when they see him go into the zone, people respond.
So what I think back to is Game 4, right, at the Western Conference Finals. LeBron James against the Denver Nuggets, and LeBron had 40, 10, and 9. Ooh. And it still wasn't enough. Nope. He is spectacular. He can be spectacular. It's a 2-2 series. He can win that Game 5. It's a 3-3 series. He can help you win that Game 7. But night in and night out, it feels like this is actually a microcosm of what the Lakers season is.
Can they even get to a series? Seriously, can they even get to a series? Because right now they're in 9th. They got to do a lot of work just to get to a series, to get to a competitive series, to get where he could get them with one dramatic performance into a position to win.
They got to do a lot of work to get to the second game of the play-in tournament if the standings are as they are now. They're 3 games out of 8th, but they're also only 3 games out of 6. It's getting a little spicy in the West.
Well, and that's why they needed that win so much last night. So diving a little bit closer into exactly what happened down the stretch. We were all sitting here last night, and there was one moment that Zach, who was sitting next to us, he was quiet. He had his headphones in. He doesn't like to talk to anybody when he's watching games. Absolute curmudgeon. And then all of a sudden we hear him peep up going, holy word I can't say on Disney airwaves. What was that moment, Zach?
Holy bleep, sitting right here watching the game on these monitors. I said something, and I turned to you, and I said, oh, it's getting serious now. And this was the moment. LeBron said, I want to guard Kawhi. Give me Kawhi, not Rui, me. And look at him getting his stance, getting mean and nasty. Forces a 3, he misses. Now, they went down by more points after this, and now here's late in the game. He still has Kawhi. He guarded him the last 18 minutes of the game. Denied, deflect, Lakers ball. Look, they went down by more points after he took the Kawhi assignment. I just felt watching the game, the entire vibe of the game changed. When the Lakers could have just said, it's a loss, let go of the rope. And LeBron said, no, give me Kawhi. I'm going to change the energy of the game. And it reminded me of the conference final. You mentioned Denver. When he said, you know what, I'm 39, I don't have 48 minutes of great defense on Nikola Jokic in me, but I got 10. Put me on Jokic. And he actually gave Jokic some problems. He can still do it for short stints.
What was lose a 21-point lead in the fourth quarter, that's not like us, and so we got to be better in that regard. It's one game. Played well for 3 quarters, didn't finish the game. I never let one loss or a bad loss, take away from what we've been doing and what we've built. It's a tough loss because we, up 21 points. But this is a good team, and when you take care of the basketball and you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're going to lose.
Okay, we're not pressing panic yet, but just noticing. The Clippers have lost 5 of their last 8 games after losing just 5 of their previous 31 games dating back to the start of December. LA has the 22nd best offense during this 8-game stretch after posting the league's best offense during that 26-5 run. So, Chiney, you had the Clippers as your latest finals pick here. They've lost, as we just mentioned, no PG, no Zubats. Now Adrian Wojnarowski has reported that Paul George is not expected to miss a lot of time here. But any concerns?
Why are you putting my business out there? I said Western Conference Finals versus the Nuggets, and the Nuggets are my favorite. Okay, but it's okay. Look, I think that this is the hardest part of the year for championship aspiration teams in the NBA.
Yep.
Post All-Star break, where you got a little bit of sense of rest. This team was connecting on all cylinders leading into All-Star break. Afterward, and by the way, like, Kawhi has been available. I know Paul George has been out. They've had everything that they have wanted by design leading into All-Star. Afterward, it's hard to not only sustain that energy, knowing that this is a time to rest before the playoffs, but then also, too, it's just the positioning. Like, games like yesterday mattered so much to the Lakers. Also, the Clippers are realizing, because this year we're saying they're favorites potentially to be in the Western Conference Finals, they're feeling like the hunted. Teams are coming to beat them for the first time in a long time. If you look at their losses in their last stretch, OKC, Timberwolves, Pelicans, teams that are trying to protect their positioning and also have rim protection.
Yeah.
They were in first in the West for a hot second, and now they're fourth, 3 games out of first, 3 games out of second, too. They maybe just don't care. They're fine being the 4th seed and let the matchup chips fall where they may. But I thought back last night watching them collapse in the 4th quarter to something Ty Lue said during the 5-game losing streak they had when Harden got there, which I thought was the most incisive comment any coach has made about their team all season. He said, we cannot walk around on offense. And in terms of just walking into actions, they got back into that bad habit last night. They did not have any juice. And this kind of sequence was a disaster after disaster after disaster. And that's the one caveat you want to put. There will be no real games when they have Westbrook, Tucker, and Plumlee on the floor together and 0 spacing unless something bad has happened injury-wise. So chalk it up to that. But I thought they've lost some juice lately. Maybe Chiney's right. Maybe it's just the doldrums of the season. They don't care, but they need to get back to moving with some verve.
Yeah, they lost that game last night because Lakers got ultra hot from 3, and they had some turnover problems in the 4th quarter. They have at times had issues with teams that have good size. And the Lakers have good size with Hachimura out there. So that's something to pay attention to as the season goes on.
They have an interesting stretch coming up here. They have the Wizards on Friday, but then they're facing the Timberwolves, the Bucks twice in this stretch coming up, the Timberwolves again, the Pelicans. So it's going to be interesting to see. This might be a little bit of gut check time. Seeding doesn't matter to Joel Embiid. He just wants to be back on the floor if he feels good enough. Senior insider Adrian Wojnarowski is here with us as we dissect this Eastern Conference playoff picture here, Brian. How much of an impact could Joel's return have on that race?
It's a potential borderline disaster for one of these teams in the top of the standings who could end up getting a 7th or 8th seeded Philly team that's not really a 7 or 8 seed. If Joel Embiid doesn't get hurt, this team might have been a 2 seed. They could very easily, I mean, they're pretty much already in the play-in zone right now.
Right.
They could easily slide out of that. Even if he comes back in a month or so, they could still be into that. And then all of a sudden, we got the 2 seed. Who do we have in the first round? Oh, we've got the Sixers. That's no good, especially for Cavs. The Cavs just lost twice to the Sixers without Embiid.
So I think the question for Philly is not just, is Joel Embiid going to return? Can he return to an MVP level or maybe an All-NBA level or an All-Star level? How long does it take him to do that? The idea that you are going to just rev up, get into the play-in tournament, maybe after just 10 days or 2 weeks, and that we're going to see the player we saw this season, last season, it is a lot to ask. So it's not just that they need Embiid back. They are built to they need a great Joel Embiid to be able to really make a run in the postseason.
I'll tell you why Joel Embiid wants to play. It's because he has suffered for a player to have so much success as an MVP and then a favorite, even so before he had his injury. He has suffered so much heartbreak in the postseason, and I think he wants to build his confidence up. I mean, this is a team that I feel like when you think about Joel Embiid, you think about 2019, what Kawhi did to his team and him being emotional about it. He wants to build confidence. So, yeah, the idea is that when he's peak performer, yeah, hopefully you can win a championship. But more importantly, I think he wants to win a championship in the future. And so, like, think about, his past. I wrote it down. 2019, Game 7 heartbreak. 2020, swept in the first round by the Celtics. 2021, lost to Atlanta. 2022, lost to the Heat after he missed 2 games in that series. 2023, you blew a series lead up 3-2. Like, he wants to get out there so that in the moment where he can build and find his confidence, he knows that carries through so that he can actually capitalize on these seasons moving forward.
Now, poor Sixers fans, they turn on the show and they just have Chiney outlining their horrible playoff heartbreak history one by one by one. Look, they're obviously a totally different team with Joel Embiid. Woj said it right, and Joel Embiid said it in his own words. He said, you can never tell how your body is going to react. So it's going to be a wait and see, but it just can't be emphasized enough. This dude is averaging 35 points a game in 34 minutes a game. You can argue about Wilt and Jordan in this on a per-minute basis. This was the greatest scoring season in the history of professional basketball, and they just have no answer without him. It's just praying that Tyrese Maxey hits a bunch of step-back threes. Tobias Harris has been in a slump. But, yeah, these teams at the top will be checking out Embiid's health and where Philly is, because that would be a titanic first-round matchup for anybody.
Right. I mean, look at the Sixers' record with and without Joel Embiid. If the Milwaukee Bucks somehow creep up into the 7-8 matchup is against the Milwaukee Bucks, I don't know who I'm taking in that one. But if it is the Cleveland Cavaliers or a team like that, with no knock on Cleveland, that's a matchup for the Sixers I might like